Okay, it's May 1st, 2025. We are at Point of Rocks, Colorado. We're interviewing Cody English, who's the current property owner here, and we have a few questions for you, Cody. How long has your family, your extended family, been property owners here at Point of Rock?
About 1960s sometime. And they built the first house on here in 1970.
Okay, and the first owners were?
Ruth Ann Steele and Jim Steele.
And how are you related to the Steeles?
Ruth Ann was my great aunt and Jim was my great uncle.
Sweet.
So did you get your history bug from her?
More from Jim. Ruth Ann was way more wildlife. So wildlife bug from Ruth Ann. She loved everything knowledge, but she was definitely more wildlife. But Jim was history buff.
Apparently she was famous for making bird nest boxes.
Yes. There's probably one in the background.
We have seen quite a few here, yes.
Over 100 bluebird houses.
Oh my goodness.
That's a commitment.
Yes.
Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about this place, Jim? I mean, Cody.
So right here we have Fagan's grave, and then up there we have, as you said, Point of Rocks, which is I've learned from at least one source was called La Seja, which was eyebrow in Spanish. And down below, can't completely see it, is Kiowa Creek, which is probably one of the reasons they would stay here, for the fresh water, the abundance of firewood, and wildlife.
So Kiowa Creek runs pretty much all year?
Year round. I've never seen it stop running. So it completely, it freezes over, but you'll always have a constant stream underneath. And then Fagan's grave here is the teamster who froze to death on the Loring expedition.
And we just figured out the other day that's part of the group that was coming in 1857 as part of the Utah War. So, talk about wildlife in the area.
As far as here goes, we've had just about everything. We've had, right now it's kind of turkey season. We got probably 2 groups of a dozen turkeys that just roam our property. We have elk that come and go all throughout the year, deer that are pretty much a constant, pronghorn that I'll see groups of at least 12 roam across the valley here, and then on top of that we've had coyotes all the time, and then black bears, we've had bobcats. I've never seen them, but I've heard people report mountain lions out in the area. So we pretty much got everything.
And so you felt like this would be a good place for somebody who needed to subsist on the land, right?
Absolutely. I don't think you would have any problem between the water, tons of wood from the trees, and rabbits, anything to eat.
Historically, did they have bison in the area?
I believe they did. From my understanding, so this a little bit about the property. Ruth Ann made it a conservation easement. So a few things with that. We don't allow hunting anymore. Only like one more building can be built on the property. We have to take care of the noxious weeds to maintain the natural Colorado vegetation. And on top of that is Fagan's grave. We have to take care of it. It's all part of the conservation easement. And one of the things we're allowed to do, was we can let cattle graze on the property, which we do about 2 or 3 months a year, to repeat that natural of what the bison used to do when they come through the area. So I do think there used to be bison because that's what they want us to do. So.
And your aunt used to let people come and look around the area?
She used to let
things?
people, come look around the area. She also led field trips for some of the schools around here. to there. I joined a couple when I was a kid, but it was a lot about the plants and vegetation, and then a little bit of the history of down here as well. So
You mentioned earlier you have a tree on the property that has a very peculiar angle to it. Would you talk about that a little bit?
yeah, on top of the bluff there's a tree, and around it there's almost nothing for a good 15 feet circle, and the tree has got a almost perfect 90-degree bend that, from what I can tell on my compass, points just about south. And where the tree is located, if you keep walking, you actually come to the edge of the plateau up there, and you can just see, and it points you perfectly towards it. So from my research and reading and a little bit of recent confirmation, I believe it's a Native American guide tree, which I've been curious about for years.
Okay, and one of the other things that we're here, of course, we're kind of looking, besides Fagan's grave, which is well known and well respected, one of the other things we're looking for is, well, how do we know that this was a camping area? And so if we turn a little bit here to the right, looking south, we're actually standing in what appears to be one of the wagon swales, and on the other side of Coyote Creek appears to be a cut down where we would have expected the wagons to come across and then up through the swale, leading to a really large, I don't know, we're looking at 3-4 acres up there, I guess. Pretty flat area that would have been a perfect camping area. Now, if I remember right, Cody, when they talk about finding Fagan the next morning after the blizzard, they said he was within 100 yards of camp.
Yes.
And so if that flat was the camp, and they buried him about 100 yards from camp, that's just about perfect for distances.
Yeah, I don't think they would have, in the blizzard, I personally don't think they would have taken him far from where he died.
Yeah.
You've had experience with snows.
Yes, and they can get very bad out here. We've experienced a few of the, storms that they experienced.
2 feet of snow in 60 hours is
Yeah.
a fair amount of snow.
And out here, the biggest thing with the snow is the wind. If it's a 2-foot flat across, you will have 4 to 5 foot drifts on anything that the wind catches, because there's always a little bit of a breeze, and if that wind picks up, I've had drifts that will engulf my truck and on my driveway. So
Wow.
I can't imagine a tent probably drifted up pretty good as well.
They get blown down,
Yeah.
trust me. Well, this one's going to come out of the blue. What are your hopes for the property and the history here in the future?
We hope to just kind of maintain. We inherited this property from my great aunt and great uncle, and they spent 50 years of maintaining that conservation easement, and we kind of want to do the same. We want to maintain that conservation easement, so that it continues to be just this openness of wildlife and history that's just kind of always here. So we don't want to mess that up, and so we continue to do that. I've continued to do the taking care of noxious weeds and things like that. Monitoring the wildlife as well is something kind of new out here with technology versus Excel sheets and binoculars. So we monitor and keep everything safe, and we hope to maintain that through hopefully another generation. So
Super.
It's a beautiful place.
thank you.